Hey everyone, it's Tom Ballard here. I'm an ambassador for Refugee Legal, and it is my pleasure to be joined once again by the Executive Director of Refugee Legal, Mr. David Manne. Hello, David.
Hi, Tom.
Lovely to see you again. And we are approaching that magical time, the end of the financial year, which means there's an opportunity for people to chip in and help out the wonderful work that Refugee Legal does. We've talked about it before, but I thought it was worth a bit of a check-in to talk about where we are, the kind of work that you're doing, and how people can help. So people might have heard recently that there's been this fast track process initiated by the government, a surge in interview requests for people seeking asylum who want to plead their case. I know that's taking up a lot of your time at Refugee Legal. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on there?
Yeah, look, this is for people who literally arrived over 8 years ago, Tom, in Australia, and their lives have been in limbo ever since. And a few years ago, they were finally allowed to actually apply for protection, and then were left in limbo again for a number of years. This is the last remaining 1,100 or so people who still haven't been interviewed by the government about their fears all these years later, and then have been left in limbo. And then out of the blue, there's been this sudden surge by the government who've decided to interview everyone by 30 June with this arbitrary deadline of 30 June, issuing people 2-week notices for an interview, which is like a hearing about their fears. And an interview where a Department of Home Affairs official will ask them why they fled, what they fear in great detail, and then decide their final fate on life or death matters.
But surely that's a good thing, isn't it? If they're getting an interview and they've been waiting in, purgatory for so long, David, surely it's a great thing that all of a sudden the clients, the people that you work with, have a chance to plead their case. Surely, right?
Yeah. Well, look, Tom. It's a harrowing experience and traumatic experience for so many of the people that we help. But of course, our concern here is not about the resumption of processing after years of limbo. Far from it. I mean, it's long overdue. The concern here is about the way it's being done, and that is, to out of the blue instigate this sudden surge, which is arbitrary and completely unnecessary, with such short timeframes, runs the real risk of compromising basic rights. People need to get legal assistance, and they need to be able to effectively present their case so that they can get a fair hearing. So the concern here is not that they're getting on with processing, far from it. It's about the way it's being done. People deserve a fair go before the law. They need a fair hearing of their case. If they don't get that, what we know is serious miscarriages of justice can result in people literally being denied protection and being sent back to danger, to torture or death.
Well, thankfully, Refugee Legal exists to do this kind of work. This is the real bread and butter of what you guys do, in putting together people's cases, going through cases and helping them get that legal assistance so they can have a best chance to have their claims heard. And I understand there's been a fair, inspiring offer of support from within the legal community to help you in that work, David.
Yeah, once again, Tom, with this surge, and we've seen a significant increase in demand for our services again in this area, over and above the huge and constant need. And once again, we've called upon the legal profession. We've now got 16 pro bono law firms that partner with us, and they send over armies of lawyers to work with us. We train the lawyers. Many of them come from a corporate background. We train them, and then they help us to help people in desperate need to get the advice they need and to present their cases. And it's inspiring because these firms have once again risen to the challenge with us, and it just means that we're able to leverage those resources and get more people on board working with us to help people in need. And it is really inspiring, and it's more than inspiring too. It is actually incredibly impactful and powerful, because the work that people do with us, together with us, just means that more people in desperate need can get the help they need, and that results in people having a far greater chance of getting justice and protection.
That's great. Lawyers can be nice, everybody, sometimes. It's good to know. Thank you so much. If you're already a supporter of Refugee Legal and have already been very generous, chipping in some help and support over the years, you are much loved and appreciated. We are asking you to consider to continue that support, encourage friends and family to get on board with the support. Join the cool club of people who give money to the refugee legal cause, because it supports the great work that David's outlined with us. And also, you know, if people donate before the end of the financial year, David, the impact of their donation, their support is going to be amplified, right?
It sure is. And Tom, just to, you know, there are thousands of people in other circumstances who come seeking our help, you know, not only under the fast track system, as we've just talked about, people seeking protection from persecution. There's also women and children seeking protection from family violence who come to us in dire need. There's also people held in indefinite and prolonged detention, including in the suburbs of capital cities, remote corners of the country pleading for freedom, and also people stripped of their residency who are battling to have that restored. So there are so many other areas of work that we do for thousands of people every year. And we're incredibly grateful to have a number of match challenges this year. Firstly, there was Peter McMullen and the Good Business Foundation who put up a match challenge through our end of the financial year campaign that was matched. Then we had the pro bono law firms, not only sending armies of lawyers over and providing all this pro bono assistance, but then putting up a financial match challenge, a donation match challenge, and that was met. And so currently, we're incredibly grateful to have Gandel Philanthropy, who have put up a match challenge that they'll match donations up to $50,000 up until 30 June, which means basically if you donate, that they'll match dollar for dollar what you donate, doubling your donation effectively. And so that's what's happening right now.
There you go. Double your impact, chip in and support the fantastic work that Refugee Legal does for these people in need, people seeking asylum and refugees who have human rights like everybody else and deserve to have people like Refugee Legal and those wonderful pro bono lawyers chipping in their time on their side. Your impact will be doubled and matched by those wonderful donors. So please get involved. Go to refugeelegal.org.au. Donations are tax deductible. Get it in before the end of financial year. Feel good about yourself and help make Australia a slightly more humane place. David, thank you so much for your work as always, and thanks for talking to me.
Tom, thanks again for being so ambassadorial. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.